Okay, welcome back to the Lighthouse tutorial series, and today is day 7. And if you've been following up, today we'll be learning about table markup. So what we'll be learning in this video are how and when to use tables. We're going to look at table structures. We're also going to learn how to span tables. We're going to learn about table accessibility, and finally we're going to learn about row and column groups. So without any further altercations, let's get started with the video. So I've already opened up my text editor, as you can see, and I've created a new folder. And this my new folder, I named it table markup, and I just have 2 files there. So let's get started with the HTML markup. So HTML-5, and yeah, so how do I let HTML know that I want to create a table, or rather how will the browser know that I'm trying to call in a table? For that, I use the table tag. So bam, table. And let me just get rid of this border here, and yeah, let's design a basic table. So I already have something opened up here. Now this table, let's try to recreate it. We have rows and columns here, so let's get started. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to just create a table row. So as you can see, the header here, these 4 things in bolded here, they are in a row. So for that, I call in the table row elements, tr, right? Nice. And in this table row element, in order to make it known that this is a header, I call in a table header element. 11%. Okay, so table header, and let me just call this menu item. I'm having another header, calories. We're having another header which is called fats, and it's measured in grams. So those are the things you have in that table as the header. Be sure that anything relating to your table is kept in the table tag. So what next? We're dealing with the menu item, and if I can still remember, I think it was chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup. And what was on now? This table data here, the first one will fall under the menu item. The second thing, that the second table data will fall under the calories, and the last one will fall under fat. So the calories is 120, and finally we're having another table data with 2 grams of fat. So nice. I'm going to run this in a moment. Let's just finish up with the table. And finally another table row, and in this table row we have table data, and I think it was a Caesar salad. Yeah, it was a Caesar salad, and the calories was 400 and the fat 26. 400 and the fat was 26. So let me run this. As you can see, you've been able to get the table and all the items are in it. But what about the borders? Let me show you how you can call in borders. So you need to use style sheets. By default, that is how HTML renders a table. I'll also show you how to design tables using flex blocks and grid, but that will be in the CSS tutorial. So let me just get started on this. The style that I want to use here is, I want to style 2 elements. That is the table header and the table data. Instead of me how will I say it now, moving on separate lines to provide one specific information for this table, I can simply call in the 2 elements at once and give them a specific style sheet rule to follow. Now this is when you want to assign the same properties to them but if you want to assign different properties to them, you can call them in separately. So in this case, I want to assign each of them with a border, and let me just give them a border of 0.4 px, a solid one, and make it maybe gray. Yeah, gray, and close it. So this px here stands for pixels, but don't worry about that right now. I'll teach you about css measurements when we get started in css. So let me just run this. So yeah, we've been able to recreate the table, or at least something close to it. So yeah, I think that's nice. So okay, yeah, that's just basic table markup. But I forgot to mention this in the beginning. How do we know when to use tables? Now, we have certain information that are best represented in a table for easier understanding and better accessibility. Such information could include payrolls and results. If you noticed, my speech is a little bit fast today, and that is because I'm having a low battery and I don't want the phone to die while I'm in the middle of shooting. So this is what basic table markup looks like. So the next thing we'll be learning about is spanning cells. How do we span cells? Now this is just how you design a little table. So already I've created a file here called spanning.html. So I'm just going to call in basic HTML markup here and start with a table tag. So okay, table header, and maybe I want to talk about albums. So let me just go with this. Or no, genre of music. Oh no, let me first talk of albums. Yeah. So yeah, and what else? Maybe I should go with the year too. So yeah, I'm just going to make mention of just a few albums. Yeah. And let me see, Me Against the World. Now, if you've been following along from the start of this video, I'm sure you should be like trying to get a mental image of what this table should look like. So let me give passing another information. This was 1995. It was an album by world famous rapper Tupac. And let me call in another one here, a new table row, table data, and maybe just give all eyes on me. Okay, nice. And the year was 1996. So let me run this. Nice. Let me give it a little bit of style here. And I want to style the header and the data parts here. So remember, always separate the elements that you want to style at the same time with a comma. So I'm just going to give them a border of maybe 0.2 px. Maybe just give it black straight. Sorry, I forgot to add solid here. Okay, so nice, we've been able to do that. So we just created a simple table. Now this is where the spanning comes along. Now let me show you guys something. You see this part here? Yeah, this part here, this is called a column. This part here is called the column. The direction that these lines I'm drawing is facing is called the column. Then for the row, the direction of the line I'm drawing represents the row. So we can either make a row bigger, right, or we can make a row bigger, that is this, or we can make a column bigger, that is this here, as you can see. So this one here is for the row, right, while this one here that I'm circling is for the column. So that is it there. Let's learn about column spanning now. About no, yeah. Should I go with column or row first? Okay, let's go with row spanning first. So let's say Me Against the World was top album for the year 1995 and 96. Now, my user can not know this unless I try to make him understand. This is where accessibility comes in to improve the user experience and interface of your table. So let me just do this here. Let me erase this all eyes on me here. Now, how do I increase the size of this? With the row span property. Now this row span property, I can assign it a number that I want. Now as you can see, this Me Against the World here spans for one row, but I can make it span for two, up to the number of rows that I want. So let me just do this here. Let me erase this and nice, and the row span should be 2. And when I run it, as you can see, Me Against the World occupies 2 spaces here. So yeah, it was popular in the year 1995 and 1996. But what if I want to show that maybe I want to make this album and year combined, yeah, something like that, instead of having them separate? Well, this is where the column span comes in. Now I'm going to delete this here. And maybe passing albums and year. Okay, nice. As you can see, there's an empty space here. Now people might look at this and say, he wants to specify the year. I think this should be wider. I think this point here should be wider, so people will know is the year he's talking about. Well, in order to make your site more accessible, this is how you can do it, using the col span element, using the col span property of tables. So now this is the first what is the name here? This is the first column here, and we want it to span for 2 columns. So remember, columns span from year to year. Columns, this is how they span, while rows span like this. Columns they span in the form of this first one here, while rows span in the form of the second one here. So let me just cancel this here. So that is how spanning works, and I'll show you some visual examples. So let's span this column to extend for both the album and the year. So in order for us to do that, we call in a col span element, a col span property here, a col span property, and set it to be equal to 2. So as you can see, everything looks better now. Albums and year. So that is how spanning works. Spanning is the property that describes the width of the cells in a table. So in other words, we've been spanning cells. The little boxes that contain information are called the cells. So let's move on. Now the next thing we'll be talking about is table accessibility. But before I talk about table accessibility, I want you to try this out. Pause the video and try this out. So look at this. This is a table. As you can see, it has both col span Yeah, it has it has row span properties. Yeah, I'm going to give you one with cold span and row span combination at the end of this video for you to use to test yourself. So I want you to try to redesign this table on your own. So you can pause the video and try that out. So let me continue with table accessibility. Or on second thoughts, before I carry out with table accessibility, try out this table here. This one has the cold span property. As you can see, it has cold span in the middle and at the bottom right. So I want you to try it out too. So let's get started with table accessibility. So yeah, table accessibility. Now you want people to know what you're trying to talk about in your table. You can use a caption element. You can go and read more on table accessibility. It's quite bulky and I can't fit it into one video, but maybe I'll drop a link in the description as to where you can read on table accessibility. So yeah, table accessibility, let's just try something out. Maybe when you want someone to know that you're trying to talk about this particular table here and what it does, just go on and I use a caption element. So in this caption element, I'm going to say something like awesome things to awesome food to eat. So yeah, let me just run this, and as you can see, it gives this table a caption so somebody can know what this table is about. As simple as that. That is table accessibility. And finally, we'll be talking about row and column groups. So let's get started on that. So yeah, row and column groups. So yeah, maybe in your let's start with the column groups first. So we have three types of column groups. We have the table header and the table body and the table footer, three of them. So let's say, for instance, now we want to describe a table. Let's say the header part of the table using the column element. So the first thing to do is to show that it's a table header. We have a specific element for that. Yeah, a specific tag. Sorry, this is called the T head. THEAD. T head, and you enclose what you want to be the header in your table there, and let's keep it as that there and close it up. Table head. So nice. We're showing that this is the header section of our table. This is a column group. So next thing we want to do, maybe we want to show the body of our table. You can simply do that with a table body. What's the name again? A table body tag. Yeah, and you can close it off maybe somewhere here. So I'm just going to do that. T body. Okay, nice. We've talked about the table head and the table body. Then what about footer? Remember I talked about the footer section when we were learning about marking up text. The footer section is where you just place some information that is at the bottom of your website. So T foot, I think that is a property there. Maybe you want this to be at the footer section, just to T foot. So yeah, I'm just going to do that there. The footer section refers to the extreme end of your website. So in this case, this is the extreme end of our table. So we're just going to use a table footer element there, which is T foot. Don't forget, close it up with a backslash. So that is it there. As you can see, these changes are not really visible here. These are meant to make your code much more readable. And yeah, that is the basic stuff here for table, what's the name again, for row and column groups. So the next is the row group. We just finished up with the column group, so I'm going to get started on that right. Oh, I'm sorry, what we just finished right here, I mixed it up because I was rushing. What we just finished up right here is the row group function and not the column group. So the column group function just goes like this. Maybe you want this to be in a column group, you simply open up this and set col group. Now this shows that it is a column group there, and you close it up. This is just the simple thing here, it's just one here, and that is the column group. So col group there, as simple as that. So with that being said, that is the end of table markup. So we learned about how to use tables, we learned table structure, we learned how to span cells, and we also learned about row and table group and table accessibility. So that is the end of it, and here is what you are going to do to test yourself. So I have an image saved here. I want you to try and design this table for me. I'm going to leave an email in the description as to where you can send it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends about Student Hub and the Lighthouse. I will see you in the next video, day 8, where we learn how to add images to our website. Of course, we've been doing that, but there is more to images than just that. Responsive image markup and stuff. So with that being said, that is the end of this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.